Speak your truth. We got with us Naya. Is it Tapper or Taper?
Tapper.
Tapper. Okay. I mean
Yeah.
English like it's spelled like that, but I want to make sure because
Yeah.
ways to pronounce stuff. I really appreciate you being here. The best, from what I hear, you the best female rugby player out here, man. That's what I heard.
One of them, I'll say for sure. One of them.
Well, in
Yeah.
my eyes, you're the best. So you go ahead, and be humble.
Thank you.
That's to me. That's dope. Super, super proud and grateful to be here with you today, and I really appreciate it. Tell us about you. Who is Naya?
So my name's Naya Tapper. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I was born in Beaufort, South Carolina, but my dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot before we finally kind of settled in Charlotte, and that's where I went to a little of middle school, high school, and then college at Chapel Hill, UNC, where I actually found where I started playing rugby. Um, I grew up a very energetic, aggressive child. I loved to play football. I loved to be outside as long as I possibly could. I grew up watching my brother in sports, and myself and my sisters in sports as well. So sports was a really big part of our family, but nothing that I ever thought that I would take to a professional level. Never had the Olympic dream growing up. It was fun to watch, but I never like aspired to be an Olympian until I got to college and realized it was actually feasible. So I think college for me is really where my rugby journey began and kind of got me to where I am today.
That's awesome. So how did you even
Yeah.
get into rugby? You started off running track, right?
Yeah. So I was running track. I think I started in seventh grade in Columbus, Georgia. And I got to high school and I was like, okay, I'm going to try for the cheerleading team because I did cheerleading a little in middle school and I didn't make it. So I was like, okay, like the talent gap from middle school to high school is a lot different. So I was like, I'll just try track and field. Like that's what I had been doing anyway. And I was very successful in that my 4 years at West Mecklenburg High School. And they had a rugby team there. So that was the first time that I learned what rugby was and that it existed. But because I was so dedicated to track and my coach didn't want me to get injured during my season, he wouldn't allow me to play. So I was like, oh, it's whatever. Like I didn't really know what I was missing back then. So it wasn't a big deal for me. And then I got into college at UNC Chapel Hill for specifically academics. I didn't want to run track anymore. I don't know if I would have been able to run competitively at a D1 level. So I kind of was just like, I'm just going to go to school, focus on academics and have a good time. Because I feel like I missed a lot of that in high school because I was running so much with track meets and all those things. So got to college, was enjoying the social life. But as you know, like when you're in sports and it's a part of your life, it's kind of hard to let go even when you think you do want to let it go. So I decided, I'll do club rugby. Like it'll be less demanding, not as much of a commitment required as a varsity sport. You just have a game on the weekend, have a couple of practices during the weekend. You can still enjoy everything else that college has to offer. So that was kind of my mentality going into the club sport of rugby at UNC, and it's kind of blew up and took me to incredible places.
Yeah, man, it's crazy what you never know what you are really getting yourself into. And
Yeah.
the transition from track and you started, what some people would consider late because many people start sports so early, especially now,
Yeah.
like starting, they're 2 or 3 years old, man.
Yeah.
And, you had success, so much success in that. And, you know, like you said, giving up a sport going to college is so difficult. So what was that decision-making process like for you? And why did you ultimately choose to continue playing it in that way?
hmm Honestly, it really wasn't hard for me at all because I had been doing it for so long and was aware of the things that I was missing out on. And my personality, I love having a good time, doing all the fun events and things like that. So having to miss out on a lot of those when I was younger, I just didn't think that made sense. So
Right.
I made it my mission to be able to experience those things in college before I had to go and actually be a real adult. So it wasn't that hard of a decision. I tried to think realistically and I was like, I'm not going to go pro in track and field. So there's really no point in me trying to do that if I realistically know I can't. And I didn't need sports to get into a good college. So that was another benefit for me of focusing on my academics so that I wouldn't have to depend on sports to be able to get me into the school of my dreams.
For sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man,
Mhm.
especially as a Black female, we don't, really talk about how many get scholarships for just academics. Everybody focuses so much on the student athlete, and I think that's so
Yeah.
awesome and incredible. So awesome and incredible. So congratulations to you. That's super
Thank
dope.
you.
I don't
Yeah.
think I was that smart. Maybe if I didn't play basketball and put a little more effort into it. So like every time I meet somebody that gets an academic scholarship, like to me, I think that's so much cooler and better than getting the
Mhm.
athletic scholarship, in my opinion. That's how.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the stigma of being a Black athlete in what is considered a white sport or majority white
Mhm.
sport?
Yes. So I think one of the first things I'll say is like the fact that there was a rugby team at my high school, which was a predominantly Black, African American, Hispanic school. To have the sport there in the first place, that was probably like the first sign of like, okay, this is your destiny and you don't really know it. Because it was a very out of place sport to be at that school. And it was actually brought to that school by one of the math teachers, one of my math teachers. He was a white male, you know,
Mhm.
and he played it and brought it to our school and was teaching all these African Americans and Hispanics how to play rugby. And us both being Black females, like African Americans are very talented in the sport realm, obviously in a lot of other realms, but specifically in the sport realm, we really dominate in any sport that we know of. So for me, going into the sport, when I did at UNC, that was in a predominantly white school.
Mhm.
Most of my teammates were white. There were a couple Black girls on the team, and other races as well, but it was predominantly white. The coach was white. Most of the staff is white, you know? So
Mhm.
um, I think for me and a lot of the other girls that were on the team in college, we didn't let that change who we were as people, how we celebrated, what type of music we listened to, how we behaved. Like we stuck to what we knew, regardless of the people that were around us. Because I feel like a lot of times when you get in certain environments like that, you feel like you have to change yourself into somebody you think would be acceptable to them. And that wasn't the case for us. And I think because it was the sport of rugby, those people were so receptive to that. Because in rugby, you have a lot of people who um, are from different religions, from different backgrounds. They choose to love different people than who people tell them they need to love. So it was like a group of not misfits, but people who were open to being around people with different perspectives and ways of living. So I think that's why it was accepted so much for us to come out there and be who we were as human beings. And I think it was for me like important to teach them like this is what the Black community is like, this is the type
Yeah,
of music we listen to, this is what we do on the weekends, and to receive that same feedback from them of what do they do, what do they eat, what do they like to listen to. So it was just like a melting pool of getting to know all different types of races. So I like that about it, and being able to make people more aware of us as African Americans and that we're actually like really amazing and you don't really have to be scared of us.
for
So I think
real.
that was yeah. So I think that was cool for me, and I think I've had the same mentality since going into the professional level of again it being predominantly white 5 years ago, but right now it's just like blowing up with so many for African Americans and different ethnicities playing the sport. Some of the top rugby players in the world are African Americans. A lot of them are.
Wow.
So that just shows you the growth of the sport and how accepting it is over time of people of different colors and religions, backgrounds, all that good stuff. So, it's everything that anything you expose us to will probably end up being really good. And so, me having lived that now I hope to share that same perspective with other African Americans who might not even know the sport exists. A lot of people don't know what rugby is, especially in the Black community. So being able to be that representation for them, and they see like, oh, I can travel the world, I can go to the Olympics, I can learn this new sport and be accepted by this amazing group of people as long as I keep doing what I'm doing.
Definitely. And you
Yeah.
inspired me. I wanted to play rugby. My parents wasn't having it. I couldn't even play
And that was the
football.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the case with a lot of the girls, and a lot of them literally like were disowned from their family. And that just blew my mind. That just didn't make any sense to me.
Wow.
That yeah, even at the professional
Oh,
level. Hmm.
that's
So
crazy. I never heard that before.
yeah.
What?
Yes, I thought I sacrificed stuff. I didn't sacrifice anything compared to a lot of those girls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I've never heard nothing like that. Now I need to
Hmm.
talk to them. You gotta hook me up. Man, that's yeah. Well, look, if y'all got a spot on the team, I don't know. Just I can only play about 5 minutes because I'm a little old now, but I got y'all. I can do something. I got you.
Yeah.
So did you know you said you had to sacrifice some things. So that was my next
Hmm.
question. Did anything ever impact your mental health? It was going to be more specifically about being Black in the white sport, but you said like it was
Hmm.
very accepted. So does anything
Hmm.
else ever affect your mental health playing this sport?
Hmm. I want to say I feel like I am pushed a lot harder in my mind than a lot of the other girls on the team. And at times I think, it might be because you're African American.
Mhm.
Because I can't think of any other reason some days. So, but knowing me, it's just like, okay, well, like you're strong, you're gonna get through it. But that shouldn't always have to be the fallback. You should some just get treated equally, I guess. And the same with like asking for contract increases and things like that, having to explain yourself. Again, questioning, is it because I'm African American that I have to do all these extra things in order to get what I feel I deserve? So I don't know if it's something that's just naturally a part of our culture where we feel like if we don't get something right away, we automatically use the quote unquote excuse of, oh, well, I'm Black, maybe they're being racist. Because
Mhm.
a lot of the times it is that, but there might be times where it's not. So sometimes I'm hesitant to think that way or even say this out loud
Mhm.
because you don't want it to seem like you're just using that as an excuse and that maybe you really didn't deserve it.
Mhm.
But so I think that's probably like the only mental thing I've struggled with is it for people to feel like they can attack me as much as they want or not give me what I deserve because possibly of my race.
Mhm.
And not knowing and knowing you can't ask, because even if you ask, doesn't mean they're going to tell you the truth. And
Exactly.
it's probably going to come with a lot of heat anyway. So going back and forth between, is this just like how everybody's being treated, or is it how I'm and maybe a lot of my other African American or minority teammates are being treated? Because I don't know, like, again, it's a white man's sport. So even at the top, you have majority white males at the highest level of the sport in the organization. So you want to hope that they all have your best interest, but in a world that we live in, realistically, it may be the case, they may not. So then how do you navigate around that?
For sure. I think as
Yeah.
dark-skinned Black women, honestly, it is
Yeah.
valid to question in every situation, is this
Hmm.
happening to me because of the way that I look? And for me
Hmm.
personally, going even further, even being gay and being a masculine gay woman, like I have to
Yeah.
always ask, like, is this person acting this way because of this? Especially when I like, for example, at a gas station, restaurant, if I see you treat somebody else really, really nice, and then you come to me and you acting different, you already judge me like, so what's up? But then I got it, like
Yeah.
you said, I have to sit here and ask, is it because I'm Black? Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm gay? All these different things, because
Yeah.
even white women get disrespected and unheard sometimes too, and have to
Hmm.
fight to get raises and stuff. So like I always, like you said, can't say it's because I'm Black, but it can
Hmm.
be because I'm a woman, or it can be because I'm gay. So it's always, I
Yeah.
think it's valid to question people sometimes why they act the way they
Hmm.
act. Don't ever feel embarrassed or like you crazy or nothing like that, because it's literally actual that darker complected women, no matter what race you are, get treated the worst. The worst. And men as well, but women, we at the bottom. I don't care what nobody say. We are absolute bottom on the totem pole. So anytime somebody energy is off with me, I'm already asking, or already even just saying, especially where I'm from, you a Trumper, like you racist. I don't even have to question it no more. Like I'm not gonna feel crazy anymore because of how somebody else is treating me, and they are going to try to tell me it's not because of that. I'm not stupid. It done happened too many times. So no, that's extremely valid, and I respect that. And thank you for opening up, because I know it's not easy. I literally just watched a video of a dark-skinned Black man saying the same exact thing. He says it because he knows that other people are afraid to, or feel like they won't be heard, like it's just an excuse. But no, like these are valid things. Even in 2021, it's valid, sadly. Sadly. Is there any advice that you have, while we're talking about that, for a young dark-skinned Black girl who is trying to find her way in the world and also in sports?
I think one of the things I had to learn was to not be afraid to use my voice. And I'm somebody who's really not afraid to use my voice. So sometimes I feel like I can be overbearing, or I can just be too much. But I have learned that a lot of the times you're speaking for people, as you said, who are too afraid to speak up, and who won't tell you, even when you do speak up, oh, like I really appreciated that you did that. So do it for yourself, because the worst that people can tell you is no. And that doesn't hurt that bad. You know, you'll get over that. But it'll hurt worse if you never spoke up, if you never said anything. So you don't want to have any regrets in that aspect. So being a woman in sports, speak your mind, but do it in a professional way. There will be times where things will get heated, but as much as you can, try to keep it professional. We're all emotional and passionate about certain things, so it's okay to showcase that. But at the end of the day, try to keep it as professional as possible. Never change who you are, because that's what's going to allow you to live the most comfortable and happy life you can possibly live. And I'd probably say always fight for what you deserve in every level of life. And that just all wraps into just having no regrets with every decision that you make going through life. I think that's one of the ultimate goals for me, and something that I've learned over time is it's going to suck right there in that moment, but in the long run, it'll probably be the best decision you make.
Definitely. Naya, thank you. You are awesome. You're super dope. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Good luck with your career. And I want to be on y'all podcast too. If I put the description, I got you.
Absolutely.
I got you. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you and you taking the time to speak with us tonight.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation, and hopefully, if you're really interested in playing rugby, let me know. I can try to hook you up.
For real, look, I've been lifting. I done lost a lot of weight, but y'all different. I gotta get ready. You gotta let me know how I need to prepare, because I will. Because I do miss traveling. I've been looking for opportunities to travel, for real. So if I gotta do something different, now you don't put me on the spot. For real, I got you. Thank you.
Okay, sounds